Okay. All right, guys, we are live. It is Extra Point with Phil Jones and Larry Godwin. All right, guys, we are live. Well, it wasn't easy to get on, folks, believe me, but that's not y'all's problem. The only issue you're concerned about is Larry and I are back a week ago today. We tried this and it failed miserably, but by golly, we would not be denied, Larry. And here we are back again, a week later, ready to rock and roll.
That's right, Phil. So can you hear me?
I got you.
So can the audience hear me?
Let's make sure everybody can hear everybody. Can everybody hear Larry? Can everybody hear me? Let's make sure that. Hold on just a second. Everybody can hear everybody. Can everybody hear Larry? One more time, Larry. Can everybody hear me?
Okay, so you can you guys hear me now?
One more time, Larry.
I'm hearing an echo for some reason.
Okay, so can you guys hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're good. So I always have my phone on to where, Philip Jacob Williams says we can go. Jose Padilla says Mr. Larry Green and Phil. Where's that coming from? Larry Godwin.
So he's probably referring to my green background because I'm on a football field.
Yes, you are.
It looks like I'm on a football field.
I hear you. Oscar Miles says we hear echoes. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. What's causing that? See if we can.
Yeah, I was hearing an echo too, a little bit.
Okay, not sure where that's coming from, but hopefully that'll die down a little bit. We try to maybe adjust some things here. Oscar Miles, but y'all clear now. Okay, we're good. Good. Yeah, I turned the volume down.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, I'm kind of learning on the go here, man. I just turned the volume down on the laptop, and anyway, whatever, man. Nobody wants to hear tech talk, right?
Exactly right, man.
Welcome to Phil and Larry's Tech Talk, where we tell you just how bad we mess up. All right, well, it's me, Larry. Listen, Larry got us back up and going. Big shout out to Flint Dykes, who of course hosts it produces our coaches shows that we did. Guys, I got to tell y'all something before we get started here. Y'all know that we I host 5 coaches shows. We started with 6 with Jeff Littleton to start the year. Of course, Jeff County is out, and so we were down to 5. And every Monday, I do 4 of the shows. Colquitt County is on Tuesday, but Larry, you got to listen to this now. So this morning, we were trying to get through the McEachern Coaches Show.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, McEachern got upset. And, man, I'm going to tell you guys, it was rough. It was rough. Here's a team, man, that has battled back from the football abyss to go 10-0 this year, 11-0, rocking and rolling. Everybody was looking at the brackets, and we already had McEachern and Valdosta in the quarters and everything. And then all of a sudden, the funny thing happened. Not a funny thing, but a strange thing happened in the second round. A strange thing happened in Powder Springs where a Walton team came in and upset a McEachern team that they had lost to 50-17 back in the Corky Kill Classic. But we had a really hard time getting through that this morning, I'll be honest with you. A lot of emotion. You guys can see the show yourself. Friday night, I was hosting this show, the Friday night version. And when I saw the McEachern final, and you guys can go back and look at it, I sat there in stunned silence for what seemed like forever. It was about 30 seconds. When you grow close to these coaches, plus, a little bit of selfishness. Larry, I promise I'll shut up and get you in here. A little bit of selfishness. Back at the beginning of the season, before the season started, I had predicted McEachern was going to be a team to watch. And, and so you feel a little invested in what's going on. And so sure enough, let me get it lined up here. So sure enough, I was invested in McEachern, interested, seeing if what I predicted would happen, did happen. It did. So, you get invested, you get emotionally invested, and then boom. before you know it, you're the team that you have been advocating for all year is out of the playoffs. But it was a rough one. I'll be honest with you. But congratulations to Kareem Reed and McEachern. They have nothing to hang their head about. They had a great season, Larry. So enough of me talking. Larry, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing really good. Kareem Reed is an excellent coach. He has proven it before. And so when he took over this McEachern program, they weren't in the best shape at all. They'd just come off of a 4-6 year when he took over, right? So his first season, Coach Reed goes 7-5, and then last year he goes 6-5, and then this year he goes 10-1, 7-0 in the region. And although Phil, he has a heartbreaking loss, a very close loss to a pretty good Walton team that was obviously got better and better as the year went on. Because as you referenced a while ago, they beat Walton early in the season, right? But every team improves during the year. And so that's no knock against Walton or McEachern. So I think Coach Reed's got this program headed in the right direction. We're all used to a McEachern playing well up there and doing well year after year. So I think that's coming. So I know it's a highly emotional when your team loses, especially when you're the skipper, right, at the helm of the ship. It's especially personal because there's a lot of personal capacity that's invested in his community, his school, his seniors, that is going to be leaving him. 3 years ago when he took over the program, he asked his seniors to trust him, to trust his process, and they did. They completely bought in, completely turned around the program. Because when these seniors was first introduced to Coach Reed, Phil, they were what, sophomores? They were in the 10th grade, and here's a brand new coach, and he gives them probably the typical rah-rah speech, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But something happened, and they bought into his program, and here they are 3 years later, 10-1 and region champs. And it's unsettling to be upset in the first round like that when you're favored. It's just the way the ball bounces up sometimes, and it's just no knock on McEachern at all. It just happens in football sometimes. But I'm glad you brought this up because I learned a valuable lesson over the last several years. Now, Phil, you and I have been doing these type of shows for a while now, right?
Yep.
So 7-8 years ago when I first appeared on your program, man, I was a take no prisoners kind of guy, right? So if someone did badly, if our team didn't perform very well, I was one of the first ones to say, man, we got to get rid of people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what? Something that I learned over the year, and I guess this is part of the maturing process on my part, is I got a sneak peek behind the curtain over the years, and I discovered that coaches are human beings too, and players' families are human beings too, and players are as well. And so I developed a rule several years ago, and it's called, in lounge circles, we all kind of laugh about it, but it's dead serious, Phil. I call it LG's 24-hour social media rule. And so especially after a loss, because everyone is highly emotional, right? And the first thing you feel tempted to do is get on social media and start blasting people because that's your raw emotion speaking.
Yeah.
But I just ask our folks to stay away from social media for 24 hours, let yourself have a chance to decompress, calm down, get the emotions out of the way. So if you feel the need to reply after that, at least you're going to be doing it level-headedly instead of speaking pure emotion, because when you speak from emotion, you're going to hurt a lot of people.
Yep.
And that's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some of the comments. I got a lot of folks checking in, guys. Thank you for your patience, by the way. I appreciate everybody being patient with us. Carrie Claiborne is checking in from Gloryland, where Buford bless their heart, had another squeaker. They had to get by. I don't know how they did it, but now listen. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Buford, this probably is their classification to take, but we shall see. Philip Moore checking in. And Larry, you can help me read some of these comments. Look at there. There's a familiar name. Joshua Chase Garnto. Do I just need to start calling him Chase?
Everybody calls him Chase.
Okay, Chase. I'm gonna shorten it up, my friend. By the way, Larry, we hadn't had a chance to talk. It was great to meet Chase and is it Philip?
Armand.
Philip, Armand, whatever. Anyway, it was great to meet those guys, and they did a good job. Robert Lindsay, how about them Lowndes Vikings and Berrien Rebels? Listen, that's been the talk. We had Jackson Dean popped in on the Friday night show, by the way, and it was great, man. Listen, we have our top 10 performers every week. You know, yours truly puts that together. For the first time in our history of the top performers, I have offensive, defensive, special teams, and then I have one because you got so many guys that play both ways. So I have like top overall performers. By the way, Lowndes is Aiden Andrews, one of our special teams top performers for this week. He sets the Lowndes all-time career extra point record. Don't know if you guys knew that or not. But anyway.
Aiden Andrews.
Yep. But anyway, real quick, so on defense, one of my top defensive performers. Remember, we only dole this out to 10 players usually, but for the first time in the history of the top performers, ITG Next Top Performer, the entire Berrien County defense gets the nod. Deservedly so, right?
Absolutely, man. And listen, everybody, I think everybody knows the scenario by now, right? Berrien is the 31st seed out of 32 teams, Phil, and Lamar County is the number 2 seed.
Yep.
So you drive 2.5 hours up there, and they're 10-0, and Berrien is 3-7, although he played a great season, very tough region, made the playoffs as a 31 seed.
Yep.
And no one, listen, even folks inside Berrien County, I doubt on them too. It's like, it's great to make the playoffs, but let's not get our hopes up. We know this outcome. But lo and behold, Jackson Dean pulls out a trick play, scores 7-0, and that daggum defense holds a Lamar County team averaging a bunch of points to 0 points. And they deserve it, man.
One of the biggest upsets, not just this year. Obviously, I'd have to say that the McEachern, Walton, the Berrien upsets by far the 2 biggest upsets of this first round. But so let's go ahead and move on real quick, Larry, and we'll talk about what's coming up because Lowndes has got a big one coming up. So Robin Merritt says, "Go Rebels." Armand, there he is, isn't it? Armand Rashad, LG, and Phil, what's going on? Armand, I mentioned about Chase a while ago, man. It was good to meet you at the Wintersville Classic. Man, what a great environment that was. Wow, incredible. Evan Reese is checking in. What's up, brother? Jose Padilla says, "Darn it, I meant to say Godwin, not Green. We knew what you meant, brother. We know where your heart is." Let's see, Kerry Claiborne. What did Beaufort just score again, Kerry? If by golly, if they didn't, Creekside did. My gosh, man, come on. Let's get it. Adrenia Blackshear Lions. I hope I said that right. Larry, take some of these comments. What you got?
Yeah, so let's see. Robert Lindsay says Vikes by 50. That's a Lowndes insider joke there. Because Armand, we do a show on Thursday nights. Armand, like every Thursday, I'll ask, okay, what do you think the score is going to be? Armand looks deadpan into the camera and says Lowndes by 50 every single week.
Kerry Claiborne said the same thing.
Well, Claiborne watches our show on Thursday nights and likes to heckle us. Oh,
does he? Not a surprise. Not a surprise.
So Jamie Freely Seeger, man, these comments are scrolling so fast, I'm losing them. Claiborne says, I told LG detour from Swanee on Friday over to Beaufort Highway to have a look at Philip Beard Stadium. I might do that because I want to see what $300 million builds up there, Phil.
No kid. Yeah, Jamie Fraley Seeger, great friend, great lady. She's Miss Camden County, checking in. Hey, Phil, checking in from Camden. Yes, you are. By the way, Jamie and Larry, everybody, what'd you guys think about the hiring? And boy, it didn't take long, did it? I'm just curious. I want to make sure Travis Rowland got his desk cleaned out because almost 48 hours to the T after Camden had issued in a county-wide school system press release thanking Coach Rowland for his services, but also announcing 48 hours later that they had hired John Lindsay. And I got to be honest with you, regardless of how you feel about the job coach Roland did. Was he given enough time? Which, by the way, I'm working on a story about that. But nevertheless, a great hire. John Lindsay, he's part of the old guard, Larry, and he's coming back to Camden to lead the team. If you couldn't get Jeff Herron back, Larry, the next best thing is John Lindsay.
So, Phil, is it safe to say that the wing T is coming back to Kingsland?
Very good question, and everybody's been wondering about that. I wouldn't be surprised. Guys, listen, Larry. I don't know if we talked about this, but a couple of weeks ago I wrote that story where I asked Jeff Herron and Rush, what is it going to take for a South Georgia, i.e. 1-6-18, to win a state championship? And again, they both said, if you don't have better talent than the other guys, Larry, you've got to do something different. And I answer your question, Larry, by posting exactly what Jeff Herron said. I always told our guys, if we can't be better, then we got to be different. And by golly, they were with that wing T. And you know what? Here's the thing about it, Larry. He proved it could work back in the mid 2000s, and then he came back in 2021, and he made it work 2 years ago, taking Camden to the semifinals. So if you want to try to line up and do the spread offense or whatever, spread them out and try to throw it over. You know what? If you got the athletes, fine. If you don't have the athletes, look out. Goodbye. Say goodbye in the second round, and get ready for basketball. But if you're Camden, you probably will want to go back to the wing T. Why? Because Jeff Herron said, if you can't be better than the other guys, you got to be different.
Okay, so here's why I think there's a very strong probability that Camden will go back to the wing T, because in what we discovered, whether it was Randy McPherson, whether it was Robbie Pruitt or Jeff Herron running the wing T, what did all those teams have in common? Not just the wing T, but they all had very strong defenses as well. Because what they did, to your point, was they might have a season or two, or maybe the overall talent pool isn't as strong as a super assembled Metro Atlanta team, right? Yep. So what these coaches did was they stacked a lot of their talent on the defensive side of the ball. And so because of the offensive scheme in the wing T, you don't have to have the biggest offensive lineman. You don't have to have the biggest running back. As a matter of fact, Lowndes made a living for years off of basically 5'6" wingbacks. Right?
That's right.
So just quick, shifty in the holes, that kind of stuff. And so my point is, if he brings back the wing T, it makes a lot of sense, because what is John Lindsay? He's a defensive guy.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So if he starts stacking talent over on that defensive side of the ball and start to basically super assemble a defensive team based on the talent he's got, and put the not lesser talent, but the guys that are adequate enough to run a proficient wing T, that's a deadly combination at any level.
Yeah. All right, so Larry, let's move on. By the way, we got a lot of things to cover. By the way, so we did get a late start, so don't worry. We're going to go the full length, Larry. If you're up with me, if you're up for it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so some other breaking news. In addition to John Lindsay being hired to take over Camden, everybody, of course, is familiar with the playoffs. We're going to get into some of these big time guys. Some of these second round matchups that are coming up this weekend. I mean, it's almost like quarterfinals or even semifinal caliber stuff, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute. But did you hear the news? Gainesville has been approved to move out of 7-5A. A shocker coming down.
Now, Phil, there were a number of teams that were slated to go into that region, but along with Gainesville, they all appealed to ship. Did they all get approved?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of hitting some of the highlights. Evan Reese, by the way. Daryl Creamer, what's up, buddy? Appling County in the house. Thanks so much for checking out. We're going to try to get to everybody's comments, guys. We apologize. That's one of my goals, is to try to read everybody's comments. So bear with me on that. But Evan Reese is the one. Evan is a big Roswell guy. He kind of is our connection up there. Him and Kerry Claiborne. A couple of our connections up there to keep us up to speed on what's happening in northeast part of the state. Evan Reese says Gainesville is going to be moving out of the region with Roswell and Milton. So, if guys, let us know about any of the other big moves like Larry is asking about. Because Larry was just asking, did all those other folks get approved on their appeal So if y'all can answer that for Larry, I would appreciate it. Speaking on behalf of Larry. So, all right, let's see
So,
here.
Phil,
Go ahead,
along
Larry.
with,
Yeah, go ahead.
along with Gainesville, Mountain View and Lanier also appealed to move over to that new region 8-6A. So if Gainesville got approved, maybe the other two did as well.
Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick, and we'll just talk about it. Obviously, 8-6A, which I guess may be 8-7A now, and Kerry Claiborne making chime in on this. So you've got this, I mean, it is about as divided as any region can be. Okay, you've got Buford at the top. You've got Mill Creek, Collins Hill, kind of meandering around there. Okay, second through seed. But you've got now Decula, you've got Lanier, you've got Mountain View. Kerry, who am I missing? Listen.
Okay, so you're talking about the new 7A starting next year. Now these teams are petitioning to move to 8-6A.
Okay, and I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So everybody basically, let's just say what region you are in. Okay, you're going to move up unless you appeal. You're going to move up a notch, a number, right? So like 1-6A becomes 1-7A. Y'all with me? You with me, Larry?
Yep.
Okay, so 8-6A, that's the Buford region. Okay, so there everybody's moving up except for what you're saying, Larry, is you got a number of teams in that region that have a petition to stay or drop back to 8-6A. Is that correct?
Okay, so I think you and I are not on the same wavelength for a second.
Okay.
So what's being appealed is the new classification.
Okay.
Okay, so the new classification and the new region that they've been assigned to.
Okay.
So starting next year, the GHSA assigned these teams like Gainesville originally to the new 7-6A. Okay, and so they appealed to do a lateral transfer to move them over to the new 8-6A.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, so they're not going to be with Buford. They'll be with teams like Appalachian, Cedar Shoals, Clark Central.
Buford region. So are you saying that the Buford region is not going to be 8-7A anymore?
Yeah, the Buford region is going to be 8-7A, but it's not going to include Gainesville.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, it never did.
Gainesville will be in the new.
Right. Yeah. And so basically, just so we'll move on. So, and the point I was making, so you got Buford, and this is the old 8-6A. Buford, Collins Hill, Mill Creek, Decula, and I think those are the 4 playoff teams this year. So my question is, is that region going to stay intact? The Buford region.
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, let's see. You got with the new one, you got Buford, Central Gwinnett, Collins Hill, Decula, Discovery, Mill Creek, and Seconder.
Okay,
that's the new Buford 8-7A.
Okay, yeah, and here's our buddy Larry Thompson checking in. Larry's son, by the way, Jonathan J.T. Thompson, Coach of the Year, in my opinion, for the job he's doing at Roswell. Just a fantastic job. Larry, thanks so much for clarifying this. So Larry Thompson Jr. says Region 7-6A next year is going to be Milton, Roswell, Lanier, Alpharetta, Johns Creek, and Riverwood. So Larry, there you go. That was part of what you were saying. So Lanier will move over. So Lanier was in 8-6A, if I got that right. They were in the Buford region, right? So they will now move to 7-6A. So Larry Thompson also adds to that teams will need 5 non-region games with only 6 teams in Region 7-6A next season. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it looks like they're gonna let's see. So Milton and Gainesville will not be in the same region next year.
Okay. So man, there's a lot to with the power ranking next year. Honestly, the regions doesn't really matter. That's a good point, Philip Moore. and I'm glad you mentioned that. Really can't get caught up in the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's gone. And how about this? How about real quick? How about this year? If the power ranking system would have been in place, every single Region 1-6A team, Tipp County included, Camden County included, and the other 4 that did make the playoffs, all 6 of the Region 1-6A teams would be in the postseason. How about that?
Yeah. So, Phil, there is some news around that postseason rankings that we need to talk about briefly.
Okay, all right.
And that is, everybody's aware of the new format starting next year with the new postseason rankings, right?
Right.
But there's been a lot of complaints around the new postseason ranking formula.
Yes.
Because the big knock on it is you can basically figure out how to manipulate the schedule to increase your PSR score, right? So there's been a lot of complaint. So what that forced the GHSA to do, I shouldn't use the word force, what the GHSA agreed to do today, and they actually added it to the agenda to be discussed today. I don't know what the outcome is, but they discussed a proposal by none other than Lauren Maxwell with Maxwell Ratings, because he recommended a different formula to the GHSA to come up with a better formula, basically, to seed the teams instead of using the current formula.
Yeah, I talked with Lauren back, I guess it was, I don't know, a month ago, and I actually brought that up. Because I thought that maybe they had used something akin to what he was putting out. Of course, you guys know that Lauren Maxwell, he puts out the Maxwell Ratings. He's the one that provides the point differential, is what they call it. It's the predicted margin of victory.
The Maxwell projections.
That's right. and he does a pretty good job, obviously. Lauren is a genius. He is the one that basically maintains the Georgia High School Historians website, keeping up with all the records in the archives. Anyway, but I asked him about that, and he made the joke like something akin to, I'm trying to get him to listen to me. So obviously it sounds like he's still working on that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So let's move on here, and let's try to get some of these comments. Philip Moore checking in. Says schedule all teams out of region to boost your ranking. If you win 2 of those, region record is irrelevant. Jose Badilla. A lot of comments here about the power rankings, guys, for sure. Okay, so guys, we're just going to kind of move on here. What's up, Stephen K. Wynn? Glad to see you here. David Woods says, hi, guys. David Woods checking in from Grayson Ram Country. I hear you. All right, guys, let's move on, okay? Because we can get bogged down and talk about this forever. Let's talk about some of the key games coming up this weekend. Class 6A, second round. Guys, bottom line, Colquitt County goes to Grayson. Can Colquitt somehow pull this off? Larry just started shaking his head. Oh, Lord.
Listen,
all right, Larry, go ahead. Expound on it, Larry. Go ahead.
I would love nothing more than for Colquitt to go up there and beat Grayson. I really would love to see that happen, just to prove to everybody that Southern schools can still go up there and beat teams like Buford and Grayson, even though it appears on paper insurmountable, right? Now, there is an ulterior motive that I have as well, Phil.
And that is?
And that is, if Colquitt can pull off the impossible and knock off Grayson, and Lowndes can get past North Gwinnett and others, that could set up a Lowndes versus Colquitt later on in the semifinals.
Wow.
Versus Lowndes versus Grayson.
Wow.
And we would have that game at home.
Wow. Yeah, I do see your ulterior motive here. So, of course, listen, guys, I think, again, Buford, all right, here's my guess. Here's my thing. And I want you guys, Larry, I want your opinion. Okay, yeah. So I think to a man, most of us, with apologies to the females in here, y'all know what I mean. It's just it's a saying. To a man, I think everybody would probably agree. Okay, Buford, the only close game they really had this year was the Milton game to start the year, and there was a lot of pomp and circumstance, a lot of emotion. I don't know if those two teams were to play again, how that would turn out. And listen, I'm a huge Ben Reeves fan. I'm a huge Milton fan. Love what they do at Milton. We, good friends of mine. I love them. Now, I just don't know, though. I guess the point I'm trying to make, I think Buford right now, guys, is to me head and shoulders above everybody else. Now, having said that, Grayson, now they played a pretty tough schedule, and they survived a couple of good teams. You guys remember early in the year, they played Thompson, the Thompson Warriors out of Alabama, Larry, right?
Yeah.
Mark Freeman is the coach at Thompson. He is, and I did a story on this where I declared him as the quarterback whisperer. This is where quarterbacks go. This is where the Tagovailoa brothers. This is where the Tagovailoa, I hope I'm not butchering the name up, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Tua Tagovailoa, the brothers, the family. Mr. Tagovailoa sent his sons from the West Coast to Thompson, Alabama to learn from and play under Mark Freeman. Okay? That's just how good he is. Now, having said that, remember, they got the guy at quarterback. This might be his last year, his senior. He's the young man that came in place of the first-string quarterback 4 years ago. You guys remember that? A freshman comes in and leads Thompson to the state championship. A real Cinderella story. If you get it, you get it. But you know, you got to know what you, Larry. Real Cinderella story here at Augusta. But anyway, so... and what's that young man's name over there at Thompson? Anyway, this is where great quarterbacks go. Now, Thompson gave Grayson all they could handle, almost beat them. And then they also, I think that game went to overtime, and didn't Grayson and Rabun Gap go to overtime? Here's the point I'm making, not to get bogged down on that. But if you're a good, solid team and you got your act together, like Rabun Gap out of Nacoochee, Georgia, and Thompson, Alabama, they have shown that you can go and you can play toe-to-toe with Grayson. So it's not like there's some big, they're a great team, do not get me wrong. But that's why I think that in this game with Colquitt County could get interesting if Jay Lamar gets red hot, and that's a big if. Because with Jay Lamar, it's about as much mental as it is physical. This year, I think it was the Lowndes game, Larry, that the Lowndes Vikings shut him down. Am I thinking about that right?
That's right.
Okay. So having said that, Colquitt County at Grayson, do they have a chance? What do you guys think?
Phil, that kid's name was Trent
Seaborn. That's it. Larry Thompson, what are your thoughts on Colquitt at Grayson? Can Colquitt get it done? Chase Garnto, what do you think? Let's move on from the power rankings, guys. Let's just move on. Let's talk playoffs. Let's see here. Let me get caught up on your comments. Jimmy Cash, 24-25. Buford doesn't have a legitimate passing game, in my opinion. Well, maybe not, but by golly, to me, they seem to be head and shoulders. Buford, by the way, has the best football player in the state of Georgia. Ty Boogie Green. I think he's the best player in Georgia. And I'm talking about overall. Punt returner. Secondary. Running the football. Go ahead, Larry. I interrupted you.
So, Buford, what is so unique about Buford in modern day football is they are still first and foremost a power running team. Everything works off that power running game, including their passing game. They would prefer to establish a dominant running game, force your safeties up, and do a lot of play action passes off of that.
Sure.
To open up the passing game. And so that's if you are a true football fan, you got to love that style of football. And now, to make it work in modern day football, it doesn't hurt to have the studs that they have up there, right, Kerry Claiborne?
Yeah, look, I think it just, to me, Buford is the team. Now, let me ask you this. I really hadn't had a chance to see much of Carrollton. But, it just seems like it's another Carrollton team that looks like and is playing like, they are dominant, and they are. Will this be Carrollton's year? But really and truly, let's take a look at it. Carrollton, Buford, Grayson. I think we would all agree those are the big three. I do think Valdosta has a really good team, and do they have a chance to make some noise? I really believe they do. The Valdosta seems to, for whatever reason, they seem to fall back and self-destruct in some big games. And I'm just pointing out what I think is the obvious. This has happened. That happened last year at Carrollton. In fact, I think it's happened the last couple of years at Carrollton, has it not, in the playoffs?
Now, I gotta give you props, Phil.
Okay.
You know, early in the year and even leading up to the Winners Classic, you took a lot of flack from Lowndes fans when you picked Valdosta to win that game, right? So, but I told a lot of Lowndes fans after the fact, like, Phil was right. You know, you do a good job of tracking all these teams, so you kind of know what you're doing a little bit.
Well, I appreciate that. Listen, Jeff Herron called me a couple of weeks. I've been getting some of these pick six games right on the money. Like I predicted, Warner Robins would beat Eastside 28-14, and they beat Eastside 28-14. But Jeff Herron says, "Gosh, Phil, listen, I'm going to come by and get you, and we're going to go to Las Vegas." Listen, it's just luck of the draw. You throw what's the blind squirrel always finds a nut or something like that. But all right, so let's move on. Talk about how about, and I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit, so stay with me. Houston County. Boy, we got some big second round games. And I'll go back to 6A. Don't worry. But how about Houston County in Rome? Talked to John Reed earlier today, Larry. He says, what is the problem that we can't catch a break? I was talking about I said, coach, big second round game coming up. He said, Phil, that's all we've been having these last couple of years is big. I think didn't Rome play Lee County? I'm sorry, Rome played Thomas County Central last year in the second round. Thomas County Central went up there. I believe I'm right, aren't I, guys?
I think you are.
So Houston County, going to go to Barron Stadium in Rome next week. Second round playoff game. What do you guys think about that? So we've thrown a couple of items out there and for Larry and the audience to answer. So we've got Colquitt County going to Grayson. Can Colquitt County get it done? We've got Hoco going to Barron Stadium in Rome, trying to beat the Wolves. And Larry, let's talk about Lowndes going to Suwanee. Yeah. Lowndes going to Suwanee to take on North Gwinnett. I think that is about as even-steven a game as you can find.
Well, we were talking about the Maxwell projections a while ago. Maxwell, with his infinite brain computer, basically makes it a pick'em game. He says North Gwinnett by 1, right? And that's not bad odds for being you're traveling up there into another hostile environment. So I like the odds. Now, I do like the way these Vikings, outside of the Wintersville Classic, because that's a rivalry. But I do like the way these guys are playing harder and harder and harder. Now, the knock on Lowndes earlier this year, Phil, was the inexperience on the defensive side of the ball. But these kids, man, they have grown and grown and grown, and they look like finally. Early in the year, the defense was trying to read, and they were trying to process, and they were kind of a little bit slower to get to the ball. But now they're automatically reacting, man. And so, Adam Carter and Matt Garris, the defensive coordinator there at Lowndes, has got that defense firing on all cylinders. Now, is it going to be enough to kind of stymie that North Gwinnett offensive attack? I think they got a pretty good shot. Now, yeah. I think they're going to have to play not a near perfect game, but the next level of that. You can't go up there and have a lot of mistakes. You really can't. If we have the number of penalties that Collins Hill had against Lowndes this past Friday night, we're not going to walk away happy campers. But if we go up there and play a pretty good, clean game and run an offense that I know that Jace Johnson can lead and a fired up defense, I think we got a shot. So with that said, I think Lowndes is going to be he's going to walk away with a 7-point victory.
I got you. Well, so Larry, that means to me, usually when I look at a game like that, North Gwinnett, obviously at home. Lowndes making the 4.5 or 4+ hour bus ride. I would generally give North Gwinnett a touchdown before the game even starts. Home field advantage, that kind of. So now with your 7-point prediction, you're basically talking about a 14-point turnaround, overcoming the odds. But that's just on paper. We'll see what happens. Big shout out to my buddy Luke Nelson, aka Big Buford. Luke is asking, what did I miss? Well, let's see, Luke. We talked a little bit about what did we talk? We talked about power rankings a little bit, Luke. But really, we're just getting into we got a late start today, Luke. So you really are lucky we didn't miss. You didn't miss a whole lot. But we're just now getting into the playoff start. And Luke, I don't know if you were hearing me talk, but I think this is Buford's year, man. I really do. I think this has been. I've been saying. I said it last year. I said it the year before. It's due time for Bryant Appling to bring home a state title back to Buford. That's my opinion. I don't know much about Carrollton. I know that they've dabbled, Larry, with a couple of quarterbacks. I won't necessarily. It's not really a platoon system, but they have played like 2 quarterbacks this year at various times. So don't really know what to say about Carrollton. Again, they look strong. They got a heck of a kick returner. He reminds me a lot of Ty Boogie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think that Lowndes is electric. They've got electric athletes. I think the skill position players that Lowndes got is second to none. But Valdosta has 2 rushers that are as good as anybody in the state, and Deron Foster and Marquise Fennell. So, man, I don't know. It's just really, I think 1-6A could really wind up making a great showing before it's all said and done.
Phil, the last thing I'll say about Lowndes at North Gwinnett is, I was reading the Georgia High School Football Daily newsletter, and they were talking about the upcoming games. And one of the things they pointed out that had slipped my mind was that, Lowndes has played the 8th toughest schedule in Class 6A.
Yeah.
And has fared pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
North Gwinnett has played the 24th hardest schedule in Class 6A. So both of them have very, very good records. But on paper, Lowndes has played a tougher schedule than North Gwinnett, playing the 24th hardest schedule. So does that help us in the second round of playoffs?
Maybe.
Maybe it does, because it gives us a little bit more being battle tested, right? And so, I'm hoping that works out into our favor.
I'm a little surprised to hear that as I look at North Gwinnett's schedule. I mean, obviously they played Colquitt County earlier this year, Larry.
That's right, but they played them very, very early in the year.
Second game, I believe.
Yeah, let's go through North Gwinnett's schedule. Their first 2 games were tough games: Douglas County and Colquitt County, and then they played Mill Creek, which is not a slouch, right? It's not a pushover, but a quality team. Then they play Brookwood. Brookwood's not having the best year this year, but still a quality team.
Absolutely.
Then
Brookwood, yeah.
Then they play Parkview, another quality team. Then their schedule goes. They play Berkmar, and then Peachtree Ridge, and then Meadow Creek, and then Norcross, and Duluth, and now South Gwinnett. So when you add all that together, Maxwell says that's the 24th hardest schedule in 6A.
Look, and I know Lauren's going with the numbers. He doesn't let emotion get involved there. I'm a little surprised just on the surface to hear that, to be honest with you. Now, we look at Lowndes' schedule. Larry, call it off.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me pull it up.
Okay. Guys, you're watching our...
Here it is right here.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so it starts off with Jenkins, and then Mount Zion out of Jonesboro, Central Gwinnett.
Jake Dog.
Then Manatee High School out of South Florida. Then Kell. Then it starts a region schedule. Colquitt County, Tift County, Camden County, Richmond Hill, Valdosta, and then Collins Hill. So basically what they're saying is, outside of the first 3 games of the season for Lowndes, the rest of them, pretty high-quality teams.
Okay. All right, so again, Lowndes going to North Gwinnett, Colquitt going to Grayson,
Yep.
Guys, can Region 1-6A remain in the hunt in the playoffs? Let's talk about Valdosta. Valdosta, we know about McEachern getting upset, so Valdosta gets the benefit, really. They are the benefactor of the McEachern upset because why? Larry, everybody pretty much already had penciled in the Valdosta McEachern game in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, so Valdosta's got a pretty, I don't want to say easy jaunt to the semifinals, but look at their schedule. Okay, so this week they're going to play Brookwood. I think they're going to beat Brookwood at home. Then the following week, let's say they make it to the quarterfinals, then they're going to have a they're going to, if they make it to the quarterfinals, they're going to host a quarterfinal game as well against the winner of East Coweta and Walton. Let's assume for a second it's going to be Walton. Okay? So I think Valdosta is going to beat Walton at home. And then they match up with Buford in a coin flip to determine the home field advantage for the semifinals.
Go ahead.
If Buford has to come down to Valdosta, I think Valdosta's got a chance. If Valdosta has to go to Buford, I think Buford is going to win it by 2 scores.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree. That coin flip, that will be the most important coin flip. Now, let me say something. That'll be the most important coin flip in a long, long time. Now, let me say something, though. And I don't know if this I didn't really ask Kareem Reed about this morning on the McEachern Coaches Show. And I don't know if this is the case. Part of me wonders, here we are. I mean, look, everybody in the state has been talking about McEachern, Valdosta. It's going to be McEachern and Valdosta. It's going to be McEachern and Valdosta. I just wonder if the players lost a little bit of the focus. And listen, I know Kareem Reed and his staff did everything to keep them focused on the matter at hand. I get that. But kids will be kids. I mean, let's face it, It's human nature. I mean, look, guys, the McEachern players, a lot of them follow, ITG next. We've been talking about it nonstop. Everybody in the state's been talking about it. Georgia High School Football Daily, AJC, Score Atlanta. Everybody's been talking about, the possibility of McEachern and Valdosta in the quarterfinals. You don't think those young men for McEachern had been hearing that? Just saying, may have lost that edge. That, coupled with the fact that it was a Walton team they had beaten back in the Corky Kill Classic in week 1, 50-17. Number 2, it was a team that they jumped out on. I think they had like a 21-7 lead or something like that. So, there was a lot of things I think that crept in. Give Walton credit, though. They overcame all of those aforementioned advantages for McEachern, overcame all that, and got it done. I mean, hats off to Daniel Bruner, head coach there at Walton. He's a great guy, by the way. I talked to him a lot. So I think that may have been what happened. Now, why do I say that? Why do I bring that up, Larry? I'm sure somewhere in the Valdosta locker room, Shelton Felton is constantly reminding everybody, you better not be thinking about what's down the road, because if they do, they start thinking ahead, start looking ahead. What's going to happen? Brookwood's going to come to Valdosta and win. Not saying they are. I'm just saying could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about kids just looking ahead, right? So it happens all the time. We see this in college and pro ball as well.
Yeah. All right. So let's continue taking a look at the playoffs, guys, and let me know your thoughts. Or let you know Larry, LG and I's thoughts on what's going on. Colquitt at Grayson. I think I've got that game. By the way, that's one of my pick 6 games. I think I've got Grayson. I think it's 38-28. I'll double check that. That's one of my pick 6 games. Larry, you were trying to say something. What you got?
Yeah, you see Jose Badia's comment. I think it's spot on, man. Think about that for a second. If Buford has to come to Bazemore Hyder, do you think that stadium's going to be packed? Absolutely.
Okay. Let me. All right. Let me chime in here. So, Kerry Claiborne, good friend of
Yeah.
mine. He is the public address announcer for the Buford Wolves football, and I think everything else they got. But Kerry was kind of alluding to the same thing. He said, part of me, even though I'd love for the game to be at Buford, part of me, would love to go to Valdosta. I think, listen, there's this perception, there's this mystique about Valdosta. But listen, other than the Wintersville Classic, and I'm not taking a knock at Valdosta, I'm just telling the truth here. Okay? Valdosta does not draw well at home at all. They don't. Okay? So when you say, boy, I bet that stadium will be packed, it should be, and you'll have a good crowd, don't get me wrong, but I just don't. I think the mystique of Valdosta has kind of been overblown for those of you that just don't keep up with it. And I get it, and I don't fault you. But anyway, I just don't know. If the stands are going to be packed, I don't think they will. It'll be a good crowd. Don't get me wrong. But it'll be. Let me put it this way: it'll be the largest crowd outside the Wintersville Classic, it was packed.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to challenge you. Push back a little bit on two different areas with that. So in recent memory, including the Wintersville Classic, other than this year, Valdosta had a tough time selling out their side, even for the Wintersville Classic for the last several years.
I agree. I agree.
For whatever reason.
Agree.
But this year's Wintersville Classic was different. Why? Because Valdosta was seemingly back on top again.
Right.
And Lowndes was back on top again. And it was a classic Wintersville Classic with two very good teams.
Yeah.
So that's been missing in years past. Now, the second thing, Phil, is most teams in this area, by the time you get to the semifinals, are going to be knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of fans, true football fans in South Georgia, that are going to be chomping at the bit to go see a classic showdown between Valdosta and Big Bad Buford.
I agree. Listen, you got to remember too that Valdosta home side is huge.
Yeah,
takes a lot of fannies to get that thing full. But we'll see. Listen, it'll be a good crowd. It'll be an electric atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. I think Valdosta and Buford, that's the dream matchup, guys. Come on.
It really is.
You've got the historic value of Valdosta football, and you've got the Buford somewhat recent historic value. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
Yeah, so you've got basically on two sides of the fence, with Valdosta representing a dominant historical powerhouse,
Yeah.
and Buford on the other side of the fence representing the more modern dominant football force in the state of Georgia.
Good point. And that's it, Larry. Listen, and again, no knock on Valdosta, but a lot of what Valdosta has been able to accomplish was that was on the shoulders of a lot of the giant teams from the 60s, 50s,
Yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s. Now, again, I think Valdosta's got a great chance this year to make a lot of noise. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll see what happens with Valdosta. I think they are as talented as anybody in the state. So, Rolodex Williams, surrounding counties would show up in a huge numbers, and our fair weather and still mad about Coach Rod's situation would show up. Rolodex, that's a good point. Now, let me ask you this, Rolodex. By the way, it's great to hear from you, my man. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you think that those fans that are still fair weather, still on the fence about the Rodemaker situation, you think that they would put that behind them at least for a night and show back up? I think that was your point, right, Rolodex?
I think Rolodex Williams kind of misspoke there, Phil.
What do you mean?
What he meant to say was, let me fix it for him. What he meant to say was the Fairweather and still mad about Rod situation are now Lowndes fans will show up.
I figured you were going somewhere like that.
I'm kidding, Roland. I'm kidding, man.
Yeah, and Rolodex Williams says he's going to go to the No Doubt show, which, by the way, they are back. No Doubt is. I was just having some fun with Rolodex. Man, it's good to see you, Rolodex. Okay, Harrison at Carrollton. Let's move on and talk about the playoffs. Harrison has no chance. Carrollton will just destroy them. We talked about Lowndes at North Gwinnett. We all tend to agree this is a toss-up. So, Hillgrove, West Forsyth, nobody knows. Yeah, I don't know much about them either way. Walton, East Coweta, Brookwood at Valdosta. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. Some history here. Who remembers when Brookwood, and probably a lot of our audience don't remember. Do you remember when Brookwood came to Valdosta in the state championship in whatever? Rolodex Williams, some of you other Valdosta fans in here, when was that? State championship game. Let's see. I'm trying to see if Georgia High School Football Daily. Here we go. Well, I was thinking that they may have said something.
What are you asking, Phil?
Well, when Brookwood played Valdosta, Brookwood came down to Valdosta to play the state championship game. I want to say it was okay. Trey Weatherington. Trey would know, of course. Trey Weatherington, 1996. That's the game that Brookwood came down to Valdosta. That's before they moved the championship games to the neutral site. They came to Valdosta, and I think they ran the ball every play except for maybe one. Ran the ball every single down. Trey, I think I got that right. Thank you, Rolodex, and everybody else checking in. Trey Weatherington, great to see you, my man. So it was 1996 state championship game. Brookwood comes to Valdosta. That's my point I was making, Larry. A little bit of history between the two teams, but going way back, obviously two completely different, programs, coaches. But anyway, uniqueness about that game, though, Brookwood did indeed, I think, ran the ball, guys, every down except for maybe one or two plays. That's it. Zay Williams, Phil, I already know where you're going. Brookwood had Paul Freeman at running back. Classic game, 98 or 96. Yep. Terrence Doe says it was 97. So anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. That was a great game. And now again, Larry, this is not the same Brookwood team. You remember those Brookwood teams back then, Larry? Big, giant guys.
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to line up as they did. Okay, we're just going to line up and we're going to run it at you and just stop us if you can. And in that game, at least Valdosta could not. But again, let's fast forward now. 96, 2006, 16, 20, almost 30 years later. Gosh, I remember that game like it was yesterday. But Brookwood again runs the ball almost every play and wins the state championship that year. Now, again, here's what I'm going to tell you. This is not the Brookwood team that you think of when you think of Brookwood. Okay,
right.
This Larry, Brookwood is another example in what has been quite a few of these teams that have been the former Blue Bloods. Brookwood, Norcross. Who else we got? Brookwood, Norcross. You guys know where I'm going. A lot of these teams that basically were big time programs but are not anymore.
Yeah, they're just like many teams up there that were once dominating that area. They're just been a victim of population growth and more schools being built up there. So it just, population moves out a little bit. So the Graysons of the world benefit from that kind of stuff. Miltons of the world benefit, that kind of,
That's right. That's right. So it's interesting. So I'm just saying, my point being, this is not your mama's Brookwood.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rolodex Williams reminds us, and Trey Weatherington, we returned the favor in 98 in the Dome, 31-7. I had forgotten about that. How about that? So, interesting. Very interesting. All right. Let's talk about who else we got in the playoffs. North Cobb is another example. North Cobb, they're okay, but it's amazing what has happened to all these former Blue Bloods. I mean, these dominant. Remember, Mill Creek beat Carrollton, just 4 years ago in the state championship. They scored 70 points on them. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if you watched any of the Mill Creek, the Mill Creek Colquitt game. I thought Colquitt had a fairly easy time with them, to be honest with you.
Phil, the team that North Cobb is playing, Douglas County, has been a head scratcher this year, man.
Yeah, they have.
they start the season out with a lot of hype
Yep.
around them, and they play well
Yep. Yep.
early on, but they have seemed to fade it a little bit as the season has progressed, which kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit.
Well, so I talked to Johnny White. He's the head coach at Douglas County because I was wondering about the same thing. I was like, what has happened to the Tigers? And what he told me, and I didn't realize this, they've got what is arguably the best wide receiver tandem in the state. And is it Aaron Gregory, guys? Somebody help me out with the other guy, the other young man. So one of those two, and I think it was Aaron Gregory, was hurt for most of the year. So the twin wide receiver deal that they were hoping for did not materialize until later in the season.
Yeah.
So Larry,
now,
yeah, go ahead.
In their defense, they did lose some really, really good teams.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And also, I think Douglas County had a transfer quarterback. Oh, that's it. So Douglas County lost their quarterback. He went back, I believe it was to Louisiana. I may have to say it wrong. Gosh, man, so I can't remember the young man's name, but he was the returning senior signal caller, Larry. So you had the returning quarterback, you had the receivers. I mean, you had Douglas County that was picked to do really, really well. And well, lo and behold, again, you lose your quarterback. Now, they were able to go to the young man who transferred in from somewhere. He was a transfer quarterback, and he's done a good job. Mike, somebody help me out with these names. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that there was a little bit of turmoil from a personnel standpoint behind the scenes with your quarterback and one of those two great wide receivers that they did not have full access to for the entire year, Larry. So that kind of explains what happened.
Yeah. So to answer Jose Padilla, he's asking me if I'm headed up to it. That is the plan, Jose. So so if everything goes well, I should be up there Friday night.
All right,
That's
let's
gonna
go.
be a long trip. I hope we win.
And I'll tell you exactly how to get there. All right, so Clarence Smitty Smith, I like Colquitt over Grayson. Hey, listen, I love it, brother. I love it. Would not listen if that does happen, it'll be a surprise, but not a major shocker. It really won't be. But that does not mean that I am overplaying Grayson. Listen, how about Grayson, Larry? Grayson loses Travis Burgess. What, second game of the year or whatever?
They don't miss a beat.
Do not miss a beat at all. If you guys remember, I wrote a story. I reached out to Brian DeBerry, the athletic director. Coach Bryant is a great guy. I said Tavius Bryant, but he's really busy. And Coach DeBerry, athletic director, does not mind talking to me about the football team. Everything's good there. But he told me, said, look, we had a meeting. And he said, Coach Bryant had a meeting and said, yes, we lost our big guy in Travis Burgess. But if you think we are going to miss a beat or our expectations are lower, you would be sadly mistaken because we will not miss anything. And you know what, Larry? He was 100% right.
Yeah, I mean, look at what they've done since then. Do you remember what game he went down in? Was it the second game?
I think it was second game. It was early in that game. It was at Rabun. It was against Rabun County, or not Rabun County. I'm sorry, Rabun Gap. Travis's father sent me the video of that, the exact play. Ball had been thrown. He put it all in sequence for me, and Travis took a blow to the knee, and it was almost kind of from his blind side. So anyway. It was a really bad, nasty hit.
So after that, next game with the new quarterback, they beat Thompson out of Alabama, 24-23 in overtime. Then they just run roughshod over Mallard Creek out of North Carolina, beat Grovetown pretty handily, and then they go through the rest of their schedule with no problems at all.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Larry. They got tested right out of the gate after Burgess went down with the new guy. His name escapes me right now. And so they go with him. And how about that young man stepping in right away? He's got all the pressure on him. No problem, coach. I got this. And he gets it done. That to me is a mark. Just think about how hard that is. When your program centers around the quarterback, which it did under Burgess. But he goes down, it's next man up. And boy, that tells you just how solid and deep and talented this team is at Grayson. So, look, guys, I don't know. It's going to be a tall order. But the more and more you start talking about Grayson, you just don't know. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Now, Phil, in Colquitt's defense, or let me say a promotion of Colquitt County. Now, for all my fellow Lowndes fans, you're going to have to tune away and forget that I even said this, because I'm about to praise Colquitt County a little bit. Okay? And so it goes something like this. If you take a look at Grayson's back half of their schedule, they had it loaded or top heavy early on because they knew the back half of their schedule is not going to be weak, but is not the best of competitions.
Right.
As it compares to the front half. Now, if you take a look at Colquitt County, throughout their season, they've had a pretty tough schedule. And you got to remember, they had a lot of young kids stepping in some key roles, right? And a second-year starting quarterback, but still a young quarterback. And they faced nothing but one tough team after another coming down the back half of their schedule. Yeah. And they have fared really well. And I would make an argument they've gotten better and better and better as we go along. You know, they go up to Mill Creek, play a close game for 3 quarters, and eventually pulls away. Yeah. That's what you expect from a battle-tested team. So I'm hoping that experience that Colquitt had on the backside of their schedule is enough to propel them past Grayson.
Larry, let's move on. Let's talk about Lee County and Langston Hughes. I mentioned earlier today when I put the promo out for the show tonight, I had said, guys, I have an upset special for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go with Lee County to upset Langston Hughes in Fairburn Friday night.
Phil, I say that this tongue in cheek when I ask
Larry was something you don't ever see from Larry. He was speechless. But
so I'm going to ask you this with tongue in cheek, right?
Okay.
So if Lee County goes up there and beats Langston Hughes, would that be more of a shocker than Berrien County upsetting Lamar County?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
But it ranks right up there because I don't think anyone expects that.
Yeah, so Larry, here's my thing. And with all apologies to Hughes, look, Hughes has got a good football team, okay? Mm-hmm. And I don't want anybody, sometimes people will say, man, we're going to get you. This fan base is going to eat you alive. Yeah, that was some of the stuff I heard this year. And I'm like, it's a football game, And, of course, the fact is I was picking, another team to win. But I think with Hughes, and you've talked about the strength of schedules, Larry, I'm a little concerned that Hughes has not played a very strong strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. So that's what I would say to the Hughes fans and why I'm going with the Lee County. But I did pick Lee County, and it is one of my pick 6 games this week. It's the upset special. Lee County will knock off Hughes, I believe, in Fairburn Friday
night. Let's see. Phil, I'm going to tell you. Let's see.
And I'm going to give you a little bit of backup, too. But go ahead, Larry.
All right, so Lee County's average score is 37-22 against the hardest schedule in Class 5A.
Wow.
Hughes' average score is 45-11 against the 19th hardest schedule in 5A.
Wow. I didn't even realize that. Let me tell you why I like Lee County, okay? So, Larry, early on, Lee County's quarterback situation was a little bit discombobulated. Okay. Obviously you have Weston Bryan who leaves, goes to Georgia Southern. You got to replace him. There was some indecision about who that was going to be. You had the young man that came out of wherever, New York, I think is where he came from. So you had that young man who came down, and I guess took him a little while to get settled. Had some issues, and anyway, I think he got a late start. Is what I'm trying to say. And but he is now playing well. He is settled in, Larry. Okay, so Lee County has got that really good quarterback play from him, and I think Lee County has got one of the deepest running back rooms in the entire state of Georgia. I mean, have you looked at their running backs? That is from top to bottom, and I'm talking about guys that don't even start. You got the Kenton Williams. You got the young man now who's getting it done. He is the oh gosh, what's his name? Somebody help me out with the Lee County running backs. It'll come to me in a minute. But you've got Larry. We've always talked about running back by committee. Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 7:00.
Okay. We've always talked about quarterback by committee, or running back by committee. I should say. That's really. I mean, that's what we talk about. That's the definition right there. Running back by committee is what Lee County is working with, and they're all good. They're really good.
Yeah. Hey, did you just hear my computer talk to me?
Yeah, I answered it.
It said it's 7:00.
Yeah, that's why I said okay. Thank you. Oscar Miles says, okay, so this is the first reply. Oscar Miles says that's a tough call. Hughes played some teams last year and went to state. The only difference this year is a different coach. Hughes has gotten better at quarterback, no disrespect to 5 last year, but Darnell Kelly is better. Darnell Kelly, of course, the young man who transferred from Peachtree Ridge. Christian Langford, I believe, was number 5, who went to, where'd he go? Have I got that right?
Yeah, and so Phil, that's why you called it an upset, right?
Yeah.
Langston Hughes is still favored.
Oh yeah.
They're still favored to win that game by 2 touchdowns.
Sure. But look, I just like the way Lee County is playing. Larry, we've been talking about what has been the overrunning theme in this show tonight. You've talked a good bit about schedules, strength of schedules, have you not?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Larry, I like the schedule Lee County has played. Look at it.
The hardest in the state.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. You did make mention of that. I got to be honest with you. They gave Thomas County Central one of the best games of the season.
Listen, I may live to eat these words, but I think it's Thomas County Central's class and everybody else is playing for second place.
I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that, Larry.
I mean, they are just loaded this year from top to bottom on offense and defense and special teams. And it's going to take a special effort plus a Central having an off night to beat them.
Again, I'm not going to argue with that. I to be honest with you, I have felt like that most of the year.
Yeah.
Thomas County Central they look completely different than everybody else. It's stunning.
It's noticeable when they get on the field, right?
Very noticeable. Now, and again, that's what I'm saying. It's Lee County, and don't anybody misunderstand what I'm saying. Lee County did not win the game, but Lee County and Houston County hung in there for a little while. Then, of course, in the end, Thomas County Central pulled away from HOCO. But I liked how Lee County hung in there with Thomas County Central. Lee County also, of course, played a good Sprayberry team Friday night who was really looking for revenge. Remember, Sprayberry lost to Lee County by 100 points last year in the third round of the playoffs. And really, that was fresh on their minds, according to Coach Fabrizio. They wanted revenge for that game, but they didn't get it. So I just like how Lee County's playing. I like they play their quarterback. I like what their running backs are doing. So just look, I could be wrong. But you know what? You got to pick that upset somewhere. and there's mine. Okay. Larry,
Yeah,
what
so
you got?
I
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
I just like Central going into 5A. You know, we talked about the strength of schedule. You know, the first half of Central's schedule wasn't that strong, but the last half was very strong in that, you know, Region 2 5A.
Yeah.
And the way they beat these teams, I mean, it wasn't even, you know, Lee County hung in there for a little while, but the remainder, 48-0 over Veterans, 70-0 over Northside, 31-7 over Houston, 41-17 over Coffee, beat Woodstock 73-14 in the first round. And I don't think Villarica is going to put up much of a fight in the second round.
Larry, keep talking. I'm going to get me something to drink real quick. Just walking around here to the refrigerator. Take it
All
away.
right.
Take it away, Larry. It's all yours, buddy.
Sounds good. Well, guys, outside of Lee County, we're talking 5A for a second. Outside of Lee County, who do you guys think is strong enough to challenge Thomas County Central? So right now, I mean, it sounds like I'm on the Central bandwagon. I'm just calling it like I see it right now. So on that upper left-hand side of the bracket, that quadrant, they've got Villarica this week. And if they win that game, which they probably will, they've got Woodward Academy and Statesboro. So the winner of that game, it's probably going to be Woodward, right? I don't think Woodward's going to beat Central. So that's going to be a coin flip to see who has home field advantage. So if Central has to travel to Woodward Academy, would Woodward have a chance? I don't know. We'll see. So on the bottom left-hand quadrant, you've got Sequoia and Noonan and Roswell and Clark Central. So let's play what if for a second. So what if Central makes it to the semifinals to play the winner of probably Roswell and Sequoia? I still see Central taking that one, right? So on the other side of the bracket, you've got someone like Lee County that might make a run. Maybe Langston Hughes gets past Lee County and makes a run, makes it to the semifinals, where they match up against maybe a Milton or a Houston County. So maybe Langston Hughes and Milton in the semifinals. Let's assume for a second that it's Milton and Central in the state championship game. Who do you think on a neutral field in Mercedes-Benz, who do you guys think takes that game between Milton and Central? That's going to be a great matchup if both teams make it that far. I think they both got a shot to make it. So Jim Blair says he thinks Roswell's got a shot. We'll see. We'll see. You know, Roswell just beat Chamblee 51-6, so I don't know. Jose Badia says Roswell has a chance, but now TCC is too deep. I'm right there with you. Evan Reese says if TCC and Woodward play, it will be TCC. Coin flip already happened. Okay, there we go. I appreciate you letting me know that, Evan. Evans also says, based on the way Milton played against Shiloh, I would not be surprised if Jackson County beats Milton. Ooh. Man, would that be a, hey, would you guys be shocked to wake up Saturday morning or late Friday night, however late you stay up, and to discover that Jackson County has beaten Milton? Now, Milton is a third seed out of Region 7, right? So they're not world beaters this year like they were last year. So are they beatable? Sure, they're a third seed out of Region 7. So can Jackson County beat them? Absolutely. But would you guys be surprised if Jackson County beat them? Personally, I would be. But we'll see. Jim Blair says, Milton going to win this week, but they are down. Yeah, I think so. Eric Wright says TCC wins that matchup. Outside of Milton, you know, Rome's got a shot. Lee County obviously wants another shot at Central. And you can't rule out Gainesville. Do the Red Elephants from Gainesville? Listen, I had a chance to interview Josh Nibbler on my podcast that I do for a national coaching spotlight called National High School Football. And you can find that on our YouTube channel. But Josh Niblett is a great coach to interview. Man, I'm 55 years old, Phil, and I interviewed Josh Niblett. At 45 minutes later, I was ready to put a helmet on and go to toe-to-toe with those guys. I probably
Yeah.
would have gotten my neck broken.
Yeah, the last 2 years we didn't do the show with him this season, but the previous 2 years we hosted his coaches show. It was the Gainesville Coaches Show with myself and Coach Niblett. And I tell you, man, you find out that the guy, you say what you want to about him. He walks the walk, he talks the talk. He's a man of faith, and you're right.
Yeah.
You can see, you can see the leadership qualities. You can see how he would be able to convince young men, to play to the final whistle. I mean, again, he is the real deal. Now, let me say this. Obviously, even with their success, and listen, anything can happen in the playoffs. There seems to be something missing from Gainesville. I don't know what it is. I think they're a notch off. And look, Gainesville being a notch off is still better than 90% of the teams in 5A. Okay,
Absolutely.
but there's just something missing. I can't put my finger on it. They've got arguably the one of the top linebackers in the state. And Xavier Griffin. In fact, it's between him and Tyler Atkinson. I think are 1A and 1B. Take your pick, flip a coin. They're both 5 stars. And then you got the quarterback, which by the way, the quarterback for Gainesville, he has a brother who is the starting free safety for Peach County.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and this young man and I talk all the time. Dadgummit, I hate this when it does that. X is starting to make me try to log in. Anyway, what's his name?
Yeah. So your point is Gainesville is
Yeah.
beatable, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Obviously,
Yeah, I got off
they
the topic there. But you're right. Yeah, yes, Gainesville is beatable. Yeah, let's just get into the chase.
But it's not going to be this week. So
No, it's not.
now, interestingly enough, Bill, Gainesville is on the road to Brunswick this week.
Wait a
So
minute,
they're going to go down there.
Say it again.
Gainesville's going to be at Brunswick this week.
Oh, they are. I just saw that. How about that?
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. So Gainesville's average score is 43-16 against the 15th hardest schedule in the Class 5A. That's, that sounds like their schedule was okay, but listen to this. Brunswick's average score is 48-18 against the 56th hardest schedule in Class 5A.
Look, okay, so you've got these teams, and look, I love what Garrett Grady has done at Brunswick. He's got them in contention for that region title every year. Did they win it this year? They did. Region 1 5A. They did. So I think this. I don't know how many region titles this is that he's won, Larry. Having said that, there's this might be a battle of there's something missing teams, and that's not a knock. I don't want anybody to think that. There's 2 great coaches. 2 years ago, we went over and we fed the Brunswick football team, and it was the Brunswick Houston County first round playoff game. I don't know how many of you guys remember that. We were there, and game went into overtime, and Houston County won it. Anyway, point being, this is a game. I think Gainesville wins it, and I think Gainesville wins it handedly.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. 100%.
Jim Blair says it. He says Brunswick's region is terrible. I get that. Not saying I disagree with you, but you know what? Even if it is, somebody's got to step up and win it. You take care of business, and that's what they do. Can't fault them for that.
Along those lines, you have to play your region schedule, and there's no way around it. And they got a pretty big region. They had 8 region games this year. Or is that 7?
Yeah, they normally play a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 region games this year. So they can't choose who they play in the region, right? But I think their region being down as a whole has hurt them competitively when they get to the playoffs. Because they're not going to Now, I would love for them to prove me wrong, and I hope I wake up Saturday morning and I see Brunswick has knocked off Gainesville because I love to see these Southern teams advance. But I just don't think their schedule has prepared them enough for the playoffs.
Who is that, Larry?
For Brunswick.
Yeah, I agree with you, and Larry, and I think you may have hit the nail on the head with what I was saying. They seem to always get to the playoffs, and then they run into a wall of reality, and I think that may be it. I think we've just kind of maybe stumbled upon it is because of the lack of really solid competition that they face in the regular season, and then that obviously changes. Now, see, I think that has the opposite effect when you start talking about the Valdosta's Colquitts. That's why I think to assume that Colquitt can beat Grayson is a legitimate thought.
Absolutely.
Same way with Lowndes. By the way, Larry Thompson Jr. says Gainesville is the sleeper team that everyone has written off. Larry, that's a fair point. And as much as I love Coach Niblett, I think I just said that probably 10 minutes ago, Larry. I mean Larry Thompson and Larry Godwin. I think that's fair, and I again, no malice intended. But Larry Thompson Jr. and Larry Godwin, I think I probably would raise my hand and say I'm one of those guys. And that doesn't mean that I think any less of Gainesville. I don't. There's just something missing. That's all.
Phil, I'm sure you've noticed this over the years. I've noticed it as long as I've been doing stuff like this. So when you throw out what you consider a legitimate prediction based on everything that you've read, seen, heard, experienced throughout the season, sometimes people get upset at you because they think that you are, disrespecting their team. I wish people would stop doing. I'm not saying this audience does that, but I get that a lot on my show as well. But that's not the case at all. We try to be as objective as possible, And so when we throw out these picks out there, that's just what we think. And I would love to see us wrong with Lee County and Brunswick and Colquitt. I hope all these Southern teams go up there and win, But sometimes, a lot of times, really, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I just I'm with you, and I don't get it. I can pick a team to lose in the pick six, and you would think,
you slap their mama or something.
I just can't understand it, But anyway, Jose Padilla, go ahead.
Evan Reese makes a pretty bold statement. He says Milton will walk to the semis.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, he may have a good point because I was just looking at they've got Jackson County, Milton at Jackson County. If you get it, you get it. Yeah. Oh Lord, that's you mean. Come on.
Jackson's pretty good. I just gotta say Jackson's pretty good. Maxwell projects them as a winner by 1 point, so it's basically a pick'em game.
Wait, who? They've got who favored?
Jackson.
What? No way. Milton wins that one 42-17.
All right, so no, I'm sorry. It says Milton by 1. I'm sorry about that. So Milton by 1. So here's what they say: Milton's average score is 33-13 against the 18th hardest schedule in Class 5A. All right. So you might have a point there. Listen to this. Listen to their schedule. Jackson County's average score is 46-10 against the 51st hardest schedule in Class 5. So with that new information, I'm changing my pick.
Larry, what is your thoughts on Creekside scoring 100 points against everybody?
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Are you talking like philosophically, should teams, outscore other teams' opponents like that? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm one of these people. I firmly believe a coach can control the score. Yeah. And a lot of people have taken issue with me when they say, well, what are you supposed to tell the kids, not to go out there and play? No, that's not what I'm saying. But you have a way of controlling a game. You know, you don't have you can keep your team from scoring 80 points. You're not proving anything. Okay, just because you beat people. Somebody actually said this the other day to me. He said, Phil, you don't have Creekside. Why don't you have Creekside rated any higher than you do? They're beating everybody by such and such points. I said, that's not how this works, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's not how this works. And if they think that, they're dead wrong.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to correct something I said, and Evan Reese is exactly right. Jeremiah Garrison actually said Milton will walk to the semis. So my apologies to Evan Reese. Evan, the way I made that mistake is Phil will attest to this. These comments that you guys are putting up there are scrolling up the screen so fast that as soon as I see it and I saw your name, I just thought you said that, and then the comment disappeared. So my apologies to Evan Reese.
They do come flying by. By the way, Evan Reese is Roswell's #1 fan. Between him and Larry Thompson Jr. By the way, but Larry, listen about Gainesville. Yeah, I think they are a sleeper team. I mean, look, they're not. I at least have not detected the same amount of respect for Gainesville this year than in years past. That's all I'm saying. And maybe it has something to do with the fact that, you know, Gainesville had all they could handle against the Lanier team, who actually led Gainesville at halftime.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. I think, look, no one's talking about Roswell. And I don't know why. I don't know why, Larry.
Well, I think now Roswell's a very good team. I think they're the sleeper team this year because Region 2-5A is getting a lot of noise, right? So you got Central up there, very recent state champion, and it seems like Justin Rogers got that thing as a machine now.
Yeah.
They're just rolling over people. Then you got teams that have been there before, and everybody knows the reputation, like Lee County. Hughes has been a recent phenomenon that has come onto the scene, right? And so then you got teams like Milton that in the most recent history, Milton's done very, very well, right?
Yeah.
So I think all these teams just overshadow Rockwell.
Good point. Very good point. All right, Sean Brown. Let's get some of these comments, Larry. Sean Brown says, Hoko versus Rome thoughts. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Larry, what are your thoughts on Rome and Houston County? Guys, I got to tell you, now, again, listen to this 5A that we've been talking about, Larry. We've already talked about Gainesville, Milton, Houston County, Thomas County Central, Hughes. Are you kidding me? Larry, listen to that. I mean,
I know, it's impressive, right?
I'm gonna did I mention Roswell? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left Roswell out. If I did, I mean, wow. When you
if you take a look at Class 5A, that is probably the most unsettled from top to bottom. I think they have more teams that are capable of winning it.
Agree.
If you take a look at Class 6A, let's be honest, there's probably a handful of teams that have a shot at winning that thing.
Right.
Obviously,
That's right.
Buford, Grayson, maybe Lowndes with an outside shot. North Gwinnett's got an outside shot. But everyone is expecting a Grayson versus Buford matchup. But you can't really say that in Class 5A because there's a lot of teams left that still have a shot at winning this thing.
That's a great point, Larry. I'm glad you pointed that out. And I think to assume, and listen, we've all been doing this. You know, I've been working in, kind of hand in hand with Darius Kirksey and Kerry Claiborne. Darius Kirksey has been kind of our unofficial bracketologist for ITG Next, and he has put together several scenarios of how potential playoff spots. And Larry, he's been pretty good, but I think this weekend is going to really, I think, separate a lot of the contenders from the pretenders. Yeah. And guys, Larry, let me say this, and I want to know your thoughts. I think this is probably going to be one of the earliest seasons, or I should say one of the earliest postseasons that we've had in a long time in determining and really shaping how the postseason is going to continue. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Say that again now.
Okay, so this is look, some of the matchups that we've got coming up this week in the second round. These are normally the type of matchups we see in the quarterfinals or even the semifinals.
That's right.
So what I'm saying is, you've got so many games of teams that who have a legitimate chance of contending for a state title. Okay, you've got so many games this week that are doing that. That when we come out of this weekend, the second round, these third round games are. I mean, you're going to have some. You've already got some monumental games coming up this weekend, and it's only the second round. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, two things speak to that. One, that is a major reason why the GHSA is going to a different playoff model with reseeding teams, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And two is, to our point, there are so many good teams that have a legitimate shot at winning everything, right? That you can't avoid some of these matchups in earlier rounds because there's so many good, high-quality teams in 5A.
Good point. No, you're absolutely right. And it kind of brings us right back to where we started. You know, I just reeled off all those teams, Larry. What was that, 6 or 7 teams? Any one of those, TCC, Roswell. You know, Larry, I don't think I mentioned Lee County. Sequoia.
So listen, let's go down the teams that remain in the round of 16, right? In the second round.
Okay.
So Lee County definitely got a shot.
Yes.
Right? Langston Hughes definitely got a shot.
Yep.
Gainesville got a shot.
Yep.
Brunswick, I don't know. Let's say no for now.
Okay. All right. We'll put them in the no column.
Houston County.
Yes.
Under the right circumstances, they have a shot.
100%.
Rome has a shot.
100%.
Milton definitely has a shot.
100%.
Jackson County, I don't know.
Reverend Jackson, but go ahead.
So out of 8 teams on one half of the bracket, we just named 6 of them that still have a shot.
Wow.
Now, if you take a look at the other side of the bracket, Statesboro, no.
No.
Woodward Academy,
No.
not this year.
No.
Villa Rica, no.
No.
Thomas County Central, yes.
100%.
Clark Central, probably
No.
not.
No. No. No.
Roswell,
Yes.
yeah.
Roswell is
So,
that's my sleeper pick.
Noonan,
No.
no. Okay. Sequoia,
Yes.
that's Phil. Out of 16 teams, we just named 7. That's almost half the field remaining has a legitimate shot. That's strong. That's why you have these big time matchups in the second round.
Jim Blair says it, second round is weeding out. Boy, it will be this time. And guys, there's going to be some really good teams who are sitting at home after Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about that. Larry, think about the Lee County. I'm sorry, well, Lee County is one. Think about Lee County Hughes. I mean, what if Lee County upsets them? Hughes is bye-bye. How about Hoco and Rome? What a shame. What a shame that either one of those teams has got to be sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
After this week is what I mean. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Darius Kirksey makes an outstanding point.
He usually
the right
does.
The right side of that bracket is brutal.
5A?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So out of the 8 remaining teams on the right side of the bracket, we named 6 that have legitimate shots.
Wow.
And on the left side, we named 2 that have legitimate shots in Roswell and Central.
Incredible, man. It's just incredible. I just don't know what to say. Wow.
So anyway, well, Phil, it's pushing 7:30, bro.
Yeah, we think it's about time for us to check out. Man, I really want to thank everybody that hung with us tonight. Again, we got a late start. We normally start at 5:30, but we got started about 5:45. But we've given it the 15 minutes and then some. Larry, love it, man, when you come on the show. I've said it before. I love inviting Larry to come on. I felt so bad last week. We tried to I invited Larry on, but we couldn't get our sound right, and that was not going to happen tonight. And that's why I paused this show as late as I could. I was like, there will not be a sorry, Larry. We're not going to do that again. So, Larry,
That's okay. Listen,
yeah,
I'm gonna sign off by stirring the pot a little bit
there we go.
and using Clarence Smitty Smith makes a comment and a suggestion that is pretty intriguing, right?
Yeah.
It's too late to do it now, but he throws this out there. He says, "How about Thomas County Central moving up to 7A?"
Hey, now you do know they petitioned to go to 5A.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Now I know the backstory on that, and if
Yeah.
it's accurate, they have a legitimate point.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Larry, if you want to tell it, you can tell it. Or
Yeah, so what I've been told by some folks over at Central is Thomas County Central has a pretty good special education program
it does.
that they offer their services to surrounding counties.
That is correct.
And those surrounding counties take advantage of that, right?
Yep.
So those kids go to Thomas County High School or Central High School.
Yes.
And for reclassification purposes, the GHSA says those special ed kids count in your student population, and because they're out of zone kids, they not only count as one, but they count as 3 kids.
Yep.
And so those special ed kids, if the story is accurate, those special ed kids are enough with the multiplier to push Thomas County Central up to 6A instead of staying in what they say is their rightful place, which is
Right.
5A.
That's
and
right.
if that story is accurate, they have a legitimate point.
Yeah. But but we'll see.
But listen, but
yeah.
but they play big boy football. They're strong enough to stay in 6A, and I think even to move up to 7A.
All right, and I'm going to throw something else out at you. All right, and I've been talking about this all year. Larry, I want to get your thoughts, and I promise we'll let you bail out of here. Greg Maddox, what's up, Greg? Good to see Greg in here. Also, Jeremiah J.G. Garrison made it in here from Gloryland. Go Buford Wolves. Eric Wright. Is TIF dropping down to 5A next year? Yes, they are. Actually, they're dropping to 6A. Remember, we go back to 7A this year, Eric. Anyway, so, and Darius Kirks, you repeated what you said. The right side is a gauntlet this year. Yes, it is. Now, and we're talking about 5A. Okay. Teams that I think are the best, regardless of classification: Thomas County Central, Carver Columbus. Okay. Thomas County Central, Carver Columbus. I'm going to throw Bowden in there. And I don't know. Is there anybody else you would add to that list? Again, that could be anybody, regardless of classification.
So you really think Carver Columbus could compete in 5A and 6A?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Larry. Loaded. I mean, unbelievable.
Well, then if that's the case, and I don't doubt you, I just don't know anything about the program.
Yeah.
Then, I know all the teams in the new Region 1 7A is going to be absent a region game next year because TIF is leaving our region. So that means that we're going to have 6 non-region games to find next year. So maybe some of these Region 1 7A teams should get Carver Columbus on the schedule.
That's interesting. I was not aware of that. Grace Elizabeth says that is correct about Central. This is Armand. I'm still listening to. Okay, I got you. So, all right. So, what do you guys think? Carver, Thomas County Central, and again, we exclude the 7A because, I mean, obviously they are, the highest ranked team, the highest ranked classification in the state. But Thomas County Central and Carver are my biggest two.
Gotcha. Okay.
But hey, and I promise this will be it. On the heels of Travis Rowland being let go at Camden County, I'm writing a story, and I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just writing a story, and I promise this will be it. I want everybody's answer, opinion, and Larry, I want yours. How long should a head football coach, a newly hired head football coach, how long should a newly hired head football coach be given to succeed? Larry says 3 years. Minimum.
At least 3 years.
Larry, I like that, and I agree with that. Guys, what do y'all think? You can continue to answer here. You can go to our Facebook page. I'm going to put it up there. Darius Kirksey, I agree with you, by the way. North Dakota, we got to remember, they haven't lost a game in, 2 years? And they beat the crap out of everybody. And also, again, Bowden going for their fourth straight championship this year. Something to be said for that. Now, how many years, guys, should a new head football coach be given to succeed? Larry says 3 years. And I'll say this. The story I'm writing, I'd asked Jeff Littleton of Tift County. I asked Jeff Herron. I asked Jonathan Guess. Remember Jonathan Guess? He was the head coach at ELCA? Which, by the way, what happened to ELCA, guys? They were the state powerhouse at one time. All right, real quick. Armand, 3 years. Darius Kirksey, 3. Amanda Lynn, 3. Eric Wright says 3. Greg Maddox, 3 to 4 years. Jim Blair says 4. Obviously, Larry, you're right there with everybody else. And I think there's a reason for that. That's the smart number. That's the smart answer.
Well, when you give a coach 3, that gives them plenty of time with a sophomore class.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that gives them also plenty of time to start in hopes of developing that sophomore class. So by the time they're seniors, they got a lot of experience. So you should start to see trends in the right way. First year, if a coach goes 3-7, 4-6, it's their first year. You got to give them some grace on that. Second year, you ought to see some improvement there. If they start out 3-7, they ought to be going 5-5 or 6-4.
Agree.
By the third year, they ought to be doing 7-3 at least.
Agree with you on that. And I'll say this: Jeff Littleton said at Tift County when he got the job, and he does not mind me saying this, and I'm going to use it in the story. Jeff Littleton said, well, let me ask you this. How many years did you think Jeff Littleton said he would need at Tift?
Probably 4 or 5.
5. He told the folks at Tift County. And Larry, I think the teachers, coaches, they still have to be renewed every year. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So, I mean, they could not choose to let him go through with it. But
now,
yeah, go ahead.
There is a caveat to that, Phil.
Okay.
That some of these coaches now, I think I'm right on this. If you guys know that I'm wrong, I don't mind you telling me that, but I think I'm right on this. Now, some head coaches now are not given teacher classification. They're given administration classification, as in now they're being named like director of football operations and head football coach, right? Where they report directly to the superintendent. So in those cases, they might be able to justify a longer term contract instead of the 1-year teacher contract.
Interesting. Did not know that. So again, going back to it, Jeff Littleton said, guys, it's going to take us 5 years at Tift. 5 years. That's just how far the program had receded. I like the fact that he's honest about it. I like the fact that he told them, hey, now he just completed what, year 2?
Yeah.
So Tift County did show signs of improvement. Remember, they beat Langston Hughes in that preseason scrimmage, got everybody's hopes up. And, things just didn't pan out. Tift County played some good games, but still, it's a process. Just goes to show you how far behind they are. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Larry, thanks so much for joining me, man. I know you're ready to go. I appreciate you checking in with me. Appreciate all your help, Larry.
Yeah, no problem at all. One last team I thought that I was surprised you didn't name about moving, playing any class. I thought you would have named Benedictine as well.
You know what, Larry? Good call. Good call. Let me put them in there as well.
Yeah. So, guys, appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight. I love spending some time with you guys talking high school football. You can tell I like talking about high school football in general. I love Lowndes, but I do love high school football. And to be able to spend it with an evening with Phil and you guys have, with the banter back and forth, loved every minute of it. So I hope to see you again.
Larry, you have a standing invitation to join me. I told you that. You have a standing invitation to be here with me on Mondays and Friday nights.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, Larry. Guys, thank y'all so much as well for joining us. Don't forget, check us out at ITG Next. All of our content there. Subscribe to our newsletter. And don't forget, Friday night show is going to be a blast as we recap all these Friday night second-round matchups. Until then, follow us at ITG Next Georgia and ITGNext.com.